Hey, this is Jim Dirschberger. You're listening to the Actorshpere podcast.
So,
Acting Expo.
yeah, Jim Dirschberger, thank you for sitting down and talking to me on the Actorshpere podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I love acting. I love film.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so tell me about what you do.
Well, I'm an animator and I'm a producer. I make animated content. I made a show on Nickelodeon called Sanjay Craig. That's probably what people most know me for. But in recent years, I've started making video games, and make them here in Buffalo, New York, which is where I'm born and raised. And now I've returned. I'm now a resident of Western New York. I'm happy to be back, and especially
Welcome back.
Especially if this is what the industry in Buffalo looks like. This is amazing, and it looks so different than what I saw when I left when I was 18.
Yeah, and about how long ago did you leave?
So I'm 40 now. I left when I was 18. Mm-hmm. I went to film school in San Francisco, and I was in the Bay Area for about 10 years. And then when me and my business partner had an opportunity to start pitching animated content to networks, made the move down to LA, and I was there for another 9 years or so.
Okay.
And then during the pandemic, everything went remote. We produced 2 pilots in 2020 and 2021, and then another project into the end of 2023. And it was wild because, like, the casting director, the line producer, people who in a normal environment you see every day, maybe I'd never met them in person before. And it's crazy, but it's maybe one of the silver linings of COVID is animation has been made more friendly for remote workers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say that before we started, I said, I'm so sorry, Jim, I didn't do any research on you and blah, 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 blah. But now that you're talking, I've definitely heard of you before because I think that Kyle Mecca and I were talking about you before.
Yeah.
And he told me about what you did, and now that sounds, now things are locking in place.
Yes,
so
we're there.
So I'm not as unprepared as I thought I was.
I'm still unprepared, though.
Okay. Oh,
so there's still
well, That's okay, though. So.
But
the interviewer needs to be more prepared than the guest, so
yeah,
that's okay.
Ideally,
yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think of this expo?
I mean, it's incredible. It's were you at the first one last year?
Yeah, I came last year, and it was interesting because they broke it up into 2 kind of parts of the day.
Right.
So it was like maybe a more mellow vibe throughout both. In this, to walk in and also see Lemur Studios doing their 40-hour film, auditions right here. This is packed.
It
incredible.
is packed.
Yeah.
And I mean, the vibe here is so positive.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a room full of hundreds of like-minded people.
Buffalo
with the
Bills
same,
fans.
And Buffalo Bills fans. Yeah, with the same goal in mind.
Salt of the earth.
Yes. People who shovel their driveways
with salt. Yeah, they got to use that too. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that this is an incredible opportunity, not only for us veterans, but for new people who are interested in starting out and maybe don't know where to start. I've taken many people under my wing over the years, and I love doing that, and I love turning people on to the right paths.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a like a supercharged version of that, because you can meet everyone all at once in one place. I love it.
Yeah, and to your point, I think with so many young people here and people who are now interested in the industry being everything from acting to in front of the camera, behind the camera, writing, directing, everything. What they're doing here in the industry that's here is now give them a reason to stay here, right? Don't export your most valuable resources in the creative arts and make them go to New York City or LA, or, I went to film school in San Francisco, but if someone told me, hey, there's a film studio being built right here, there's a whole network, there's an expo where you can go meet actors or do the 48-hour film project, I maybe would have given more consideration to just bailing, right? It's right out of high school.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need that pipeline that can say we're going to develop, nurture, and capture our talent. We're going to keep it local. So when the big films come, or there's larger productions, we can say, look at our roster of talent. We've got a deep bench of very qualified people who
That's right.
are bigger and better than maybe the folks you can bring from LA or New York.
Yeah, Buffalo has a pedigree now.
Yeah.
We've created this, and we continue to create this quality pedigree, and it's really, we've got everything that any film production needs here. We've never had that before, and it's just, the more I say it, the more it blows my mind.
Right.
Because 10 years ago, we were struggling for resources.
Well, I remember I was in film school. This was maybe 2006. I was trying to shoot a commercial. It was one of my first paid jobs for a brand. They said, we're going to give you $5,000 to shoot this ad. We're going to put it on our website. And I shot it here in Buffalo. And just the process I was used to in San Francisco, and what I had kind of been trained for, is you reach out to the local film office, the film commission. You check, you get your permits, anything that you need to pull. And I remember calling, I don't even recall who the film commissioner was at the time, but I think he picked up the phone himself and was like, yeah. Like, are you the film commissioner?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, what do you... Like, do I need a permit to close this road? And it was totally, it wasn't, shady at all, but it was just kind of like small potatoes.
Yeah, sure.
And now the Buffalo Niagara Film Commission is a monster. And they're working, they're doing so much good work. Mm-hmm. I'm sure where they found it and what they've been able to take it to in its current iteration is amazing. And if this is kind of where we're starting, now that we have the facilities to back it up, you're like, what does the next 10 years look like? What could it look like?
That's right. Yeah. And we have the capacity to do more than just one production here, too, at a time, which is nice.
Yeah. I'd love to see more animation here, personally. Animation is kind of in a weird place right now, like all of Hollywood, it seems. It feels like it's kind of on fire in free fall. There's a lot of belt tightening, and people are really scrutinizing what kind of content they will or will not make. So animation producers and creatives were kind of looking everywhere for funding, for creative partners. You look at going to Europe or in Asia, what opportunities are there? And it's like, if only there was something like that here in Buffalo, because I think New York has done a decent job with the tax breaks and the incentives here. But that's my goal. It's like, I'd love to see something more animation specific. The state has done stuff with video games. There's like a digital creators fund, which I think is somewhere between $5 to $10 million, where it's a first come, first serve for people who want to make video games. But what about the nerds? What about the people who want the cartoons? Like,
that's right.
Where's that dork money? Give me that.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because I feel like that's the next step for Buffalo. How would you see taking that next step and expanding that here? What would you think needs to happen?
That's a good question, and talking to a lot of people here, that seems to be kind of the question is, okay, we have a community, we definitely have a lot of talent here. How do we start to make it work for us? And I think it's just, it's that sweat equity a lot of people are going to have to put into it. You're going to have to say, I'm going to have to fund these initial productions. I'm going to have to make sure that I can do it 100% with local artists. And that is tough, especially for people who maybe have a network in Los Angeles or a vendor overseas. And you kind of have to have that discipline to say, no, I have to do it here because we can do it here. Yeah. But that's tough, especially now when you're putting your own money on the line.
Right.
But I think it can be done, and I think it will be done sooner than later.
Okay.
If what I'm hearing today, I've had a lot of really just interesting conversations, so maybe sooner than you think.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Let me know how I can help because I would love to see that.
Yeah. Especially with the acting community that's here. I just gave a short talk on voice acting, and it's a great way to, voice acting is acting, and we have so many phenomenal actors here in Western New York. Get them in a booth, put them in front of a mic. They can still do it. I have no doubt.
Yeah. I love going in the booth. I mean, it's like creating your own world in like a 4-foot square space,
And no hair and makeup, no blocking. You don't have to deal with any of that. Just show up, put the headphones on, and go. Right?
Yeah.
It's really intimidating. I've done a few minor voiceover roles, like on Sanjay or in some of my video games. Man to guy on the bus, just like nothing serious. But it's so intimidating when you're in there and you're in the fish tank and you just see the room of people. You can't hear them most of the time and they're kind of talking amongst themselves. Casting director, the creatives, the engineer. And there's nothing there for you to lean on. You can't use the scenery. You can't riff off of your partner. They're probably recording on another day. Yeah. It's rare if you can record with them at the same time. And it's just your performance. That's it. There's no facial expressions. There's no gestures. If it's not in your voice, it's not in your performance. And it was like terrifying the first, and it was low stakes for me.
Sure.
But it was still like, wow, yeah, I'm not a voice actor at all.
Yeah.
I don't have those chops,
It's tough. Yeah. It's a skill within itself, definitely.
Yeah. But from what I could tell in the session, again, there's so many young people who are just interested in exploring that, and that's another community that I'm glad we're trying to nurture here in Buffalo. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Jim, where can everyone see your work?
My personal website is 84films.com. My video game company is called Wide Right Interactive. You can go check out Wide Right Games. We've developed 3 titles in conjunction with the Buffalo Game Space.
That title hurts a little.
We need to embrace the
But I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we released 3 games. We're on every platform, so if you're playing on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, Steam, Mac, whatever, you can find our games. What the Dub, RiffTrax the game, and Freedom Finger. Party games, some action shooters. But Wide Right Games and 84 Films. That's me.
Perfect. And is it okay if people reach out to you and hello, Traz, and if they have any questions or if they want to get involved or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've been fortunate enough to have the benefit of great mentors and people who have given me too much of their time, answering all the questions that I had starting out. So I'm happy to be that resource for games and animation if I can be helpful.
Awesome. Thanks again, Jim.
Thank you.
The Actorshpere podcast is brought to you by Bison Insurance. Do you have insurance? Everyone has to have insurance, right? Once you start adulting. I had insurance and I did it all myself. I went online and thought it was easy. Just, typed in all my information, got a quote, paid everything online, didn't talk to anyone. But then I was referred to Anthony at Bison Insurance. And he said, you know what, man?
let me just check out your insurance and give you a free quote and see if I can save you money. So I said, okay. And he came back to me with quotes on my homeowner's insurance, my car insurance, my motorcycle insurance, my everything. And he literally saved me thousands of dollars a year just by doing the work for me. It was easier than going online because all he did was make a phone call and give him some information, and he saved me thousands of dollars. I couldn't have done that on my own. So call Bison Insurance at 716-791-7475 for a free quote. Again, you can call or text 716-791-7475 at Bison Insurance, or go to insurancebison.com.
Oh, long day?
Long day.
All right, it's like only not even 3 o'clock.
Holy cow.
Got another 4 hours.
It's like rapid fire interview here.
Yeah.